Hello everyone and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today, thanks to the team at Porsche Centre Portsmouth, I'm bringing you an in-depth tour of a 2018 Porsche Panamera 4 E-Hybrid Sport Turismo. The Sport Turismo was designed to take the four core objectives of the Panamera, performance and comfort, dynamics and efficiency, and bring them into greater harmony, and therefore make them more applicable and usable for daily life. The Panamera 4 E-Hybrid Sport Turismo is 5,049mm long, 1,937mm wide, and has an unladen weight of 2,190 kilograms. To obtain a view of the engine, a lever can be pulled on the driver's side to unlatch the bonnet. A small central latch can be lifted to lift the bonnet itself. This model is powered by a front-mounted twin-turbo 2.9-litre V6 that produces 330 brake horsepower and 450 Nm of torque. Being a hybrid, its combustion engine is coupled to an electric motor and battery system that provides 136 brake horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. Combined, this means this model produces 462 brake horsepower and 700 Nm of torque. This power output results in a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time of 4.6 seconds and a top speed of 170 mph. This car can also be used in all-electric mode, where it is capable of running for 30 miles, but will need to be charged after full depletion. At the rear, we find the optional valve-controlled sports exhaust system. Let's hear how it sounds, first in normal and then sport. This model is fitted with the optional front and rear 21-inch sport design Panamera alloy wheels in black high gloss. There are 15 wheel options available, with these being some of the most expensive. The 4 in the name means that this car is four-wheel drive. Stability is provided by aluminium double wishbones at the front and multi-link at the rear. As with many hybrid or all-electric vehicles, the Sport Turismo E-Hybrid is fitted with a regenerative braking system that helps to charge the battery when the brake is depressed by transducing kinetic energy into electrical potential energy as it is stored in the battery. There is also an optional rear axle steer option, where the rear wheels steer with or against the front wheels depending on speed. That is ticked in this car and adds even sharper turning performance. Moving on to braking, the discs are ventilated, 390mm at the front and 365mm at the rear. Now we've finished the model overview, we can start the in-depth exterior tour from front to back. The large upwardly curving grille is first. It features the front park assist camera. The grille extends laterally for the radiators, and the thermal imaging cameras for the night vision system, with 2 LED light bars above. This model has the optional 84-pixel dynamic and adaptive matrix beam headlights, with cornering and intelligent dimming functions. Moving up, we see the sloping bonnet with its dynamic lines running down on either side. Next, we can move to the side of the Sport Turismo. Coming out of the front wheel arches are hot air release vents with the E-Hybrid logo just behind. Above are slim auto-dimming wing mirrors with integrated indicators. The door handles are next, with the tinted double sunroofs above. Behind and below these, and on the right side, is the fuel tank cover. The Sport Turismo has a max capacity of 80 litres, with the car claimed to run a combined MPG of 108.6. Due to its amended rear, the Sport Turismo loses the crowd-appreciated folding spoiler found in the normal Panamera, and instead gets this smaller active lip spoiler. Here I provide a comparison between this Sport Turismo and a standard Panamera. The main difference is the extra height that has been built into the top of the rear. Moving back, we find the new 3D effect LED rear lights. These have a far more dynamic appearance than the previous lights. Below, the smooth bumper runs down into the subtle diffuser and quad tailpipes. Now we've finished the exterior tour, we can move inside. The Sport Turismo has a standard Porsche model design key, with buttons for unlock, lock and to open the boot. This is a keyless entry and keyless go car, and the door pulls out easily. The interior here has a high specification that I'll focus on in more detail soon. It is finished in high quality black leather with gloss carbon fibre inserts. We can start the interior in-depth tour with the doors. The top section begins with the lock indicator and is upholstered in leather. Under this is a long optional gloss carbon strip that runs into the aluminium door release, seat memory presets and lock controls. The extended leather covers the armrest below that runs into the boot, fuel cap, window and mirror controls. Underneath is a storage area and first speaker from the optional Burmester 21-speaker 3D sound system. Moving inside, this being a Panamera, the sill was neither high nor wide, so ingress and egress was a straightforward process. The sill itself is topped with an optional carbon sill plate. Moving up, we find the manual bonnet release catch, light controls, key fob that is constantly inserted into the barrel, carbon inlay and first manually adjustable air vent. Next is the multifunctional leather upholstered steering wheel. Controls on the left are for the left digital display, volume and mute. Controls on the right are for the right digital screen and calls. Below is the 4-position drive selector. Now turning the key fob to the right, we can see the screen start sequences. The dials ahead are divided into 3 sections. A large digital display to the left, split into 2 screens here. A central analog rev counter, with digital display below, and second larger digital display to the right, also split into 2 here. The slider to the left can be used to cycle through the options on the left screen, remaining all electric range, navigation, speed limit and lane tracking assist. On the right we can scroll through fluid temperatures and battery charge, trip, tyre pressure, sat-nav which takes up the entire screen, sport chrono digital timer if this option has been selected, a G-force meter, boost assist from the turbos, e-consumption meter, energy flow and wheel drive. Depressing the scroll wheel will enable control of the display to the farthest right. The new button below allows for easy switching between the 4 driving modes, Hybrid, Sport, Sport Plus and E-Power. The dash ahead is quite a flat, smooth area upholstered in leather. The Sport Chrono timer has been spec'd in this model. There is a small digital clock readout at the bottom. Lap times can be recorded here, as well as providing a dynamic aesthetic to the dash. Moving down, we find the new 12.3-inch TFT touchscreen. A main option menu can be found running down to the right side of this. Map is first. Being such a large screen, it is easy to scroll around, pinch out and zoom in, which makes for easy manual destination selection. You can also input an address with the keyboard or choose from the memory. Next is the media screen. Here showing DAB digital radio. The stations can be quickly changed. The screen for phone connectivity is next. Car or driving settings is next, where suspension, chassis, exhaust and spoiler settings can be individually adjusted. Climate controls are next, where the black vent just below can be automatically opened and closed. Heating and ventilation controls here extend to the seats, automatic vents, direction and speed, the ability to set a timer, and finally options to adjust rear climate controls. As this is based on the Apple CarPlay operating system, there is a screen for downloadable apps. Under this, we find a menu for the available assistants and camera systems. Front and rear with parking guidelines. Panorama frontal rear with a constant top-down view to the right. Information from the E-Hybrid system is next, including range and MPG, with options to move between the different drive modes. Next we have a screen dedicated to balancing audio in the 4 interior zones, and finally general settings. Below is quite possibly the first automatically adjustable vent I've seen in a car, with touch-sensitive direct access buttons below. These are easy to locate now, but are quite difficult to find while driving. These buttons correspond to all the menu screens on the touchscreen above, with a volume scroller centrally. Below this is the button for the hazard lights, with small digital displays either side of this to aid adjusting interior climate, utilising the buttons below. The touch controls for seat heating are mirrored on either side, but below this on the left are controls for demist. To the right, AC max and recirculation. Centrally, we find the gear selector for the 8-speed dual-clutch PDK auto transmission. It can be left in auto, or pulled down and to the left for manual changing here, or at the small paddles behind the wheel. The electronic parking brake sits behind. There are further touch controls either side of this, for suspension and traction control off on the left side, and individual mode on the right. Moving back is a small carbon top storage compartment or ashtray with a lighter or 12-volt socket. Behind is a large leather upholstered central storage compartment with 2 cup holders at the front. The small latch on the side needs to be depressed to release the lid. This opens up to reveal another 12-volt socket, aux and USB connectivity. Moving out, we can see the optional 18-way adaptive sports seats that come with the memory package and embossed headrest. All the controls for these seats can be found to the side. Now we've finished in the front, we can move to the rear. The rear doors are topped with a carbon strip and come with the Burmester speaker below. Moving in, we find an air vent on the pillar. These 10-inch touchscreens signify that the rear entertainment package has been selected. These can be removed and used outside the vehicle. The side rear seats closely resemble the adaptive sports seats at the front with obvious lateral support. Now inside, the screens ahead are manually adjustable. It feels spacious, and thanks to the double sunroofs, it also feels light and airy. The back of the middle seat can be pulled down after the latch has been opened at the top. It requires quite a hard pull to bring it into position. It provides access to 2 cup holders. The digital screen menu here is part of the optional 4-zone climate control, where each occupant can adjust their own climate and seat settings. Now we've finished the interior in-depth tour, we can have a look at the remaining storage capacity. The passenger side glove compartment is lockable, provides input for CD, up to 3 SD cards, and is quite spacious. Now moving outside, the boot can be opened by depressing the button on the driver's side, or the button on the key. The rear boot is claimed to have a storage capacity of 425 litres, although this can be extended by folding the rear seats. There is netting to the left and a top-mounted partition that can be brought out or folded back in. To close the boot, simply press the button above and wait for it to auto soft close. We can now move back inside briefly to see the final few features. Looking up, we see the tinted dual sunroofs from a different angle. Above are controls for the parking sensors, and to open the sunroofs with front and rear lighting controls ahead. The auto-dimming rear view mirror is ahead of this, and the sun visors on either side come with illumination from above, and vanity mirrors. So that concludes my in-depth tour of this 2018 Porsche Panamera 4 E-Hybrid Sport Turismo. Thanks again to the team at Porsche Centre Portsmouth. Please find all their contact details in the description of the video. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, thanks for watching.